Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning back into a little about LV. Today I'm doing my first crafting video. I actually have my mom here with me. She's going to be following along with my craft. That's her. So today I'm actually going to do two super simple crafts that I think anybody can do during the fall. One is with a wine bottle. I do a lot of crafts with wine bottles. If you've watched my fall decor video, you'll see that I have several in there. So I'm going to do a different one today to show you something that's super simple. I'm also going to show you how I made this candy corn with yarn. It's very cute. You're going to see this in my Halloween decor video, which is coming out in a couple weeks. I'm going to show you how I made this. I'm going to show you how I made the wine bottle craft. I think they're both super simple, super easy to do for anyone. So we're just going to get out all my craft supplies and jump right into the video. Alright, so the first craft I want to show you today is how I made this little candy corn. What I actually made this out of was, I think this is something for flower arrangements. I got this at Michael's. It's like $3.99. Still has the plastic on it now. I just kind of wanted to show you what that was, what it looked like. It's just this foam cone, and I wanted to show you how I made this. The only thing you need is 3 yarn. I went through a lot of yarn trying to find the right colors. It doesn't really matter what kind you have, as long as you have the right colors that you're looking for. You'll need a hot glue gun and some scissors. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do using all of these supplies is take our hot glue gun and just put a little bit right here along the edge to attach our first piece. And then we are going to take the yellow yarn for the first color and just attach it right here along the bottom. And so now that we've got that first row started, I just like to glue it all the way around on the bottom just to make sure that it stays. Alright, so now that we've gotten one base circle all the way around, I'm just going to start looping this over and over and over. As you can see on this one, I liked it to be really thick, so we're going to get one base and then we're going to continue to go around and around and around several times to make it look thick and to cover up all of the green. All of the supplies that I'm using today you can get at, craft stores like Michael's, Hobby Lobby. I specifically got this yarn at Walmart. It was only like $1.50, something around in there. And I'm just continuing to wind this around, making it a little thicker. So now that we are at the end here of where I want to stop this color, I'm going to get right here on the edge and I'm going to cut my yarn here and use my hot glue again to tack that down before we start our next color. Alright, and now we are going to start with the second color, which is the orange, and I'm just going to glue it right over where I just glued down the last of the yellow and start to spiral this yarn around again. And when I start with my second color, I do like to overlap the last of the first color that I used just to make sure that it transitions well and you can't see where one ends and where the other one begins. And when you're doing this, it does seem like this is going really smoothly for me, and that is because my mom is actually holding the yarn to unravel it for me as I'm doing this. So you might need an assistant, one that doesn't drop your yarn. If you can find one, that would be great. And as I said, the only thing to remember, this is not anything that's like, super tedious. You just need to make sure that you are covering up all of the green. It should look kind of, just wrapped. You don't want it to look too uniform or anything like that. So as long as you are covering up that green, you're doing perfect. Alright, again, I'm ready to end the second color, so I'm just going to cut my yarn and glue it down right here with a little bit of the hot glue. So that's what we have it looking like now. We have one more color to go. And again, with the third color, I'm just going to overlap the second color a little bit and go all the way to the top. So getting to the top is probably the hardest part of this craft. What I like to do is start gluing it just a little bit, just so that it stays around the top and does not come off. And I also like to put glue on the top and then just kind of snake it around to make sure that it sticks. All right, and so what I kind of like to do with the top is get like a spiral going here. If you can see that, where I see how much yarn I'm going to need to put at the top, and then I will cut it and I will put some glue on top, and then we will basically just try to work it in there in a spiral until we have covered up all the green on top. I'm laying down some glue. And that's how it should turn out on top. Alright, so that's it for the first craft that I wanted to show you. As you can tell, it turned out just exactly the same. I was going to suggest that you put maybe some felt or some cardboard on the bottoms of these, just so that if they ever like fall or someone lifts them up, you won't see what it actually was that you made them out of. I have not done that yet, but I do think that would be a good idea. So that's it for the first craft, and we're going to jump in with the wine bottle craft. Alright, so for the wine bottle craft, you're only going to need a few things for this as well. Of course, you'll need a cleaned off wine bottle. The way that I find is easiest to get the labels off of my wine bottles is to soak them in hot water and Dawn dish detergent for about 20 minutes, and then usually the labels peel off very smoothly. Sometimes I use the back of a knife to kind of scrape them off. Sometimes it just takes my fingernails. Sometimes it just comes off with like a heavy duty sponge. But after you let them soak, it usually comes off pretty well. Just make sure for this craft specifically that you have dried out the inside of your wine bottle after you have washed it. We used a hair dryer to make sure it was very dry on the inside. And the reason why is because we are making scarecrows out of these wine bottles. Today, all you will need is this raffia. I got this huge bag at Michael's for about $8. I do know that I've seen people on Pinterest also using the little hay bales that you can get at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Dollar Tree, anything like that. I just preferred this because it did have a longer stem, and I'll show you why. A couple other things that you will need just for decoration is some ribbon to make the little hat that we're going to top it with. This here is just some burlap ribbon that I got from Michael's for $5. It's about 9 feet, and we are making 2 of these today. I'm making one, my mom is making the other. I picked up a couple other ribbons here just to kind of decorate it at the end. I'm not really sure where we're going to go with it. I have a little bag of fall leaves that you can pick up at Michael's that you can glue down. Also picked up a couple little things that we could also decorate the tops of our scarecrows with. These are some little glittery acorns. There's a few little pine cones. Like I said, you can get all this stuff at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, even Dollar Tree. I get a lot of my crafts from Dollar Tree. You will need 3 colors of paint. This is the little Craft Smart paint from Michael's. It's like just so many cents. I think it's under $1. You'll need black, white, and pumpkin colored, and just a couple brushes, just whatever you're comfortable with when you see the craft. I have some that are a little more detailed, a little smaller, and then one larger flat brush. I got all these in a little variety pack at Michael's. There's nothing special about those. So that's all you're going to need today to complete this craft with us. So we're just going to jump right in and show you how we did it. Alright, so I have opened up the raffia. It looks like a hot mess right now, but basically I'm just cutting it a little bit because we're going to fit this inside of our wine bottle. This is going to be the basis of our scarecrow that we are doing. And I'm just going to try to break these apart a little bit. This is super simple. You don't need any crazy skill to do this. I'm just going to kind of twist these and shove them into the wine bottle, and we're just going to fill up the wine bottle with all of this straw-like material. So this is basically going to be like the face of our scarecrow here. It's going to look like he has a little straw face. And so you just want your wine bottle to look very full of the straw. We are going to be sticking some out of the top later, but for right now, I'm just trying to make sure that the wine bottle looks very full. I have cut these strips a little bit just to continue to stuff them in there. And to continue to pack that in there to just make sure that there's not a lot of room, that it just looks like solid hay inside the bottle, I am using just a little kitchen spoon that I have just to try to pack that in there, and then continue to put more straw in the top. Also, as a tip, don't use your finger to try to put this in there, because I just had a mild panic attack because I thought I got my finger actually stuck in this bottle and we were gonna have to break it to get it off. So me and my mom had a solid laugh about that. All right, so now that I have the bottle completely packed with the straw, I'm taking just a little bit here that I have that I want to stick out of the top. We're actually going to be creating a little hat here for him. So out of the top, I'm just putting a little extra that I actually want to stay sticking out of the top, just like this. All right, so now I have taken the burlap ribbon that I chose from Michael's. I actually chose this one because it was very frayed on the ends, and I thought that that would look more rustic for what we're doing. I'm actually going to fold this in half here and try to bend it there because I want it to kind of stick out like a bill of a hat. And then I'm going to glue it around like this. And when I get here, I want to glue it inside. And that way, once I have it glued down, I can flip the outer layer of it out and kind of have it looking like a brim of a hat. I'm winging this.
When you wing it, you let me know.
I'm winging it. I already cut it for you. So I'm just loosely gluing this around the top here. And I'm going to overlap it here in the back and tuck that piece into the back of the hat. All right, so as you can see, I've got this glued down. It looks like the little brim of a hat flipped up there. I've cut it kind of willy-nilly, like all the way around, just to make it look kind of disheveled. In the back, I had a little extra fabric, more than I wanted. So I'm just gonna like cut that here and make that even all the way around. All right, and so that is the base of our hat there, just using the burlap that I flipped up. All right, and so now I have cut another little strip of this frayed burlap, and I'm going to wrap it very loosely just around right over the top of that hat, and just to make it look more like a hat that is flowing up to the top here. So now I'm gonna just tack the hat down on each side just to make it more flush with the bottle like this. All right, and now I wanted to make the top of his hat just a little bit different. So I'm taking just a little extra ribbon that I had left over from some other projects that I have done, and I am going to go in and use this to finish off the top of his hat. The good thing about this project is that nothing has to be perfect just because of what we're doing. Like, it's supposed to be like an old scarecrow. It's supposed to look rustic. It's supposed to look a little farmhouse. So nothing has to be perfect. So this is why this craft is super simple. You could have just used the burlap all the way to the top. I just chose to do a little something extra there with that. And so now we're done with the hat. All right, so now I'm going to determine what will be the front of my scarecrow, and I might do a few little like leaves here. I just kind of want to make him a little different, give him a little bit more detail. So I've got these little leaves here, and I'm going to put one here just at the base of his little hat there. Maybe put a green one on top of that, just to kind of overlap them, make them look a little more rustic. I'm also going to do one of my little mini pine cones here right where the leaves are to kind of cover up the top of that. All right, so for this I had to bring y'all in just a little bit. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna draw my face. So now that I have this, obviously the front of my scarecrow with the hat, I have put a little bit of black paint in this bowl here. I have my smallest kind of tapered brush there. Why do I feel like I'm doing a makeup video right now? I'm gonna dip this in and I'm gonna make two rather large like teardrop shapes for the eyes. As you can see that, and I'm gonna go ahead and fill those in. All right, so I have those finished, and we will probably have to go back over those with another coat. So while those are drying, I'm going to pour some orange paint and show you how I'm going to do the nose for the scarecrow. All right, and so for the nose, I'm actually gonna do a triangular little candy corn type shape, and I'll show you how I do that with the orange paint. We are gonna go back and outline it later. I will say this is just the paint that I had on hand, the Craft Smart paint from Michaels. I do not recommend it for the bottles just because I am going to have to go back with several coats, but normally I would only have to do one if I used something like Apple Barn or the other brands like the Folk Art that they have at Michaels instead of the Craft Smart paint. It is the cheapest. If you already have it on hand, you can definitely make it work. That's why I'm using it today, but you will have to go back in with a couple more coats, as you can see here with the orange paint. And if you're okay with this look, like if you like the like rustic kind of farmhouse, like in and out type look, then this is perfect for you. If not, we are going to go back in a couple times with a couple layers of the paint. All right, and lastly, before we go back in with the details of the eyes and the nose, I'm going to create a little scarecrow mouth, just a generic mouth that you would see on most of like little scarecrow paintings, things that you would see on Pinterest. So it is going to be very swirly. It's going to have the little stitches in it. So yet again, this does not have to be perfect in any way. If you're not some crazy artist, like that's perfectly fine. It's going to be super simple to do anyway. And I'm just going to start with the little smile lines on either side, as you can see that. And then I'm just gonna do a completely random swirly mouth all the way to the other side. Just like that. And now I'm gonna go in and put the little stitches on the mouth. And there we are. That is complete eyes, nose, and mouth, but we are going to go back in and put a little bit more detailing on it just to make it look a little more realistic. All right, guys, so that's it for my first craft video ever. I hope you were able to see everything that I was doing. So this is the finished craft here. This is my little male scarecrow, and he has a little pine cone up there. I really love the way that he turned out. Super simple, super cute. And this is the one that my mom completed. She's a little girl. She's got little eyelashes. We did some glitter at the top for her. And we did a little glittery acorn here. So they're a little bit different, but you can make a little set like this. We had a lot of fun making these. And of course, this little craft that I did, that also took about 5 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna link some of the things down below that I used for the supplies today. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Comment down below if you have any questions for me, and I'll see you all in my next video. Thanks so much for watching A Little About LV. Neither one of these crafts are very expensive. You can pick this stuff up at any local craft store or gift. You don't need anything super fancy. All the crafts today you can get with, you can use just some crafts that you have. What am I saying?
Apparently nothing.
A little glitter pine cone here. That's